Hi, this is just gonna be pretty brief, but you guys will get the hang of it if you know basic HTML, CSS, or JavaScript. So, because the first things first is how to change the image. So this is index. This is going to be your starting page, the title page, what people are going to see when you first load this up. Now, I will let you know everything here is customizable. You can change the layout of all of this completely. Now, for the sake of this tutorial, I'm going to change the background to make the text a little bit more legible. Now, there's two ways you can do this. You could make a CSS file and link it to the HTML so it can run that style sheet onto here, or you can write this at the bottom of your code and style. Here, you can write CSS code. So for the sake of this, we're gonna write down body bracket, and then we're gonna write background color, and I'm gonna use slate gray. And if we refresh this, the site will obviously crash. Sorry, it doesn't. Yeah, this is what I meant to show. Because there's currently a technical bug on the itch page that I hope to fix by the end of this. So when you run the comic, it should not look like that. Well, when you run it full screen, here, let me show you what I mean. When you run it full screen, the background turns black, and this is gonna be hard for you to make it your readers to see. And on mobile, it's even worse because this is all they're gonna see. So we're gonna basically fix this bug by we're gonna fix this bug by making a background color that they can use. This way, it's more easier for the reader to see. However, if you like the default color itch provides, here's a quick way. So you want to go to the itch page, right? Itch page. This is published. Sorry. Edit comic. Never mind. Hold on. I know what I need to edit theme. You go to edit theme, and you're gonna copy the main background color, and you're gonna paste that in here. For CSS, you can use. Well, I know for a fact you can use RGB or hex colors. I'm not sure why it's not working here. So, while I go translate, God, I need to get a better thing for this. Ignore my ramblings. We need to translate this. So, hex to RGB. Normally, you should be able to just straight up paste it in here. I don't know what I'm doing wrong, and I don't want to check. So we're gonna use RGB, and we're gonna put in 58, 58, 58. This will provide the nice main itch. Oh, I want this color. Ignore everything I said, but you get the gist. Never mind, you can post hex codes. I was just being dumb. So, boom. So now, well, hypothetically, actually, no, we can actually test hypothetically right now. Say your reader should be able to see it. I recommend you also center this. I'll show you that in a bit. Don't worry, I'll be updating this on the GitHub and itch as well, so you guys can have a more easier experience with me hosting your comics. Hold on. That's not what I want. There we go. I think I'm starting to get the hang of that. So, now, here we are. Uh, and we've managed to make this centered. But what if you want this centered without the use of these? Well, these are special brackets that are a weird fusion of CSS and, well, sorry, HTML, but they do the same thing. These center. Now, this is the archive. I made this, well, copied this so you can mark up all your future pages. Speaking of which, it's time I tell you how to do that. So this is your main page, page 0. That's what you need to imagine it. Now for itch.io, for an HTML game, you're going to need to name it index exactly like this. After that, you can make as many as you want, as long as you keep it light and all that. So say you want to, I don't know. Oh, right, I should let you know. This is also supportable with GIFs, so you can put animated images here. And it doesn't have to be exactly the image resolution of, well, it can be any image resolution, really. Maybe I can show you what mine's are. Like this. Properties. Ah, right here. 720 by 1030. 720 pixels by 1032 pixels. Doesn't have to be like way, but you can make it bigger, shorter. It can be a lot more. Let me turn off the horrible, well, good music. Not what you guys need at the moment. Right. And you might be saying, hey, I don't want, well, it's open-ended. You could use a lot of CSS to modify this a lot more. JavaScript, if you really want advanced animated pages or a more unique layout. Like I said, this is a template. I want you to be creative here to use whatever. I'm going to use this eventually. Now, linking HTML. So let's say you already have 2 pages up. That's great. Which means you have to link it. So this is an A link. This is what uses a hyperlink. Basically, you click it and see that this thing that pops up there, that's a link. A common example can be on YouTube, where if you hover over an object that has a separate link, it will show a link where you're heading. That's exactly what you want. So you're going to make a hyperlink, href. What is it pulling from? Now, you can make this a website or a file. We're going to be using this as a file. And if you have your setup similar to me, you will be able to have full access to everything on the spot, which is great. I don't know why I formatted like this. I have extra folders than I need, but it's not important at the moment. So you're going to want all your pages, same reservoir, images, put it in a separate folder. You don't have to, but it's how I want to do it. And basically, you just simply change this to that, and yeah. And same thing with the button. You can make it scalable with max with 90%. You could lower it, increase it, what you want. And since it's nice, you can put any image you want. I can draw better than this. I can make a nicer looking icon than this. But the whole point why they look bad is so you can want to make your own. You can change these arrows, and if you just want like a simple next, what you want to do is remove the CRC of this. We'll actually remove all of the image and simply write next. And as you see here, boom, you'll get to next. But I like it with the image. Doesn't have to be. You can literally change it as much as you want. Now, there's only one fault with using this way. There's an improved way, a lot better. And if you're watching this while you're setting up your own stuff, that's great because you can do this. I'll update the open source thing in a bit. So you delete that. Delete the styles. Like I said, this is optional. You can keep that there if you really want something unique for this page. I highly recommend it, that you keep it this way if you want something unique for this page. But if you want like a basic thing for every page to use, I recommend using a style sheet. So what is CSS? Computer, well, it's an acronym. But for now, we're just going to call this index.css. Now, what does this do? Basically, you know all this stuff we typed out here to make the background that gray? We can do the same thing in here. However, we're going to basically crunch it all into one line and link it, which will allow you to go more in fashionable detail here. You can also make images hover, animate. You can even change how what color these links will be. It's really well, I find it fun. Now, I'm a dum-dum who can't remember each time how to link CSS, so let's Google it together. So how to link CSS to HTML. Because this way you might be able to remember it and I won't. It's easy from what I remember, but I can't. Right, this is how you do it. You don't need all that extra detail. So go to the head of the document. What was that noise? Oh, it's that. Sorry, I got scared. Right. So you were gonna write link rel, which means what this thing might be. Yeah, attribute list like values. So we're gonna write rel equals style sheet. And then we're gonna write type. This lets it know what kind of file it is. And we're gonna write text/CSS, which means this is a CSS and a text file. And finally, we're gonna write href equals index.css. And make sure that this is in the same file repository as everything else. I'm sorry. But as you can see, we've successfully linked it. I'm using Visual Studio, and I'm going to let you know this now before I forget. You don't need this. You can use Notepad to make all of this. You can use Notepad++, any text file editor that can save in any format. You can use that. You don't need this. Just remember, if you can indent in it, if it were to let me indent in it and type, you can use Notepad to use this. You don't need some fancy this. This is free, but I'm saying you don't need the best of things to do this. I've made it accessible as possible without the JavaScript. It's just text. Very headache-inducing text. Now, we're going to achieve what I wanted to there earlier. Now, quick thing. This is a body. It's a it's an element. And normally you wouldn't want to do what I'm doing. I'm writing the element itself, color, well, background color, because you might want to put a background image, and you might be saying, how do I do that? Great, you asked. Let me try to remember correctly how as well. We can use the power of the internet too. But you can put a custom image if you really wanted to. You have to use the property URL. I know, it's weird. It's normally something completely different, but now, nope, I'm just using absolutes. I want to use local file repositories. So we're going to type in image res and 000. And if we look here, the background is the same as the main image. We don't want that. It's an eyesore, really. So we're going to make it the second page really quick so you guys know what I'm talking about. Boom. And you can use that to put custom images for your comic page. But for now, I'm just going to update it So you can make it a normal color. I want that color to be exact. And this is absolute, this is going to be for all of the pages. Now, assuming that you deleted these two, I recommend you do, by the way. You know what? I should delete it in the GitHub so you guys can make your own pages and use this as. Okay, yeah, I'll do that. What was I talking about? Right. So, see this? These links, these should be the same throughout the things. You know what? Just to demonstrate it, I will delete mine as well and show you how to make a quick page. I was gonna do this eventually, so might as well. So you want to make a brand new page for your comic. Step 1, you're gonna duplicate the index. If I remember how. Copy and paste. Boom, you have index copy. Now you don't want it named that. You can't have it, but I don't. And we're gonna name it 1.html because I want to make these match up with this. And at 1.html, this is still linked up to this. So when you click this, it uses the same CSS code. And now you'll be wondering, hey, that's great and all, but what if I want to go back? We're going to show you how to add a back button. So basically, you're going to want to copy this line again and paste it right before it, because this is the next arrow and this is going to be the back arrow. You don't want, to put next here and back here. It's just bad graphic design. And we're going to put 2.html here. Now, it doesn't exist at the moment, but we'll make it exist in a bit. And you would need to change the CRC to image res image underscore res to back PNG. And now you'll be able to not switch back. Because if you notice, I forgot to change the href. Remember? Always change the href if you want the ability to go to your back page. Now, you're saying, all right, that's great, but what's with the archive? All right, so basically, this is where you want to put the start of all your chapters. Because let's say you have chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever. This is where you're going to put that HTML page. For example, prologue and Temi. Well, that's a really good example. So this whole project was inspired by Temi Ching's Soul Beacon setup because I think it's really great and a lot of more content creators on it should be able to use it. So shout outs to Temi. She made art for Deltarune, Undertale, all those amazing games. She has her own games, Unscaped Chasm. It's great. It's amazing. Read it. You should. It's good. I mean, play it. It's great. But as you can see, she has they linked all their chapters here, and you can click them, and you'll be able to jump immediately right there. And that's what these will do. So basically, these are all hyperlinks that you can click, except the last one. You can make this list as long as you want. Now, this is where you want to put your initial chapter. You don't have to change it. You can. Don't have to. Change this text to the chapter number or the name of the chapter. You can do whatever you want. And if you really wanted to, you can use the ability of JavaScript, the ability to save your page and maybe load it. I'm not sure if you can in Itch. A popular example is, what's it called? On mspaintadventures.com. Popular with this story. But for now, let's use it with a classic thing. Autosave, save game. Basically, this guy set it up their comic where you just click the link and it'll bring you back to the next page and you're saying, that's great, I want to save my game. This is going to make a cookie for the website to read to eventually bring you back. And what the hell? I don't want to read that. And when you go back, you're like, hey, I didn't leave off this page. You click load game and you'll go there. I don't know how to code that. This is another way of doing that in a slightly different fashion. I don't know how to make cookies. You might. I recommend you learn. But in the meantime, I highly recommend this. It's great. And this is also very customizable. If you really want to, you can put fonts. Now, for now, we're going to have to write P. This stands for paragraph. This should apply with links. And we're going to type in font family. And you can put whatever fonts you want. But it has to be in... Wait, does it have to be? Hold on. I don't know what I did. Well, you can make it Georgia. I heard that's easy to read. And I'm trying to make it funny. Boom. Yeah, you can put in any font you want. It's great. Comic Sans, because it's a comic and no jail. But it's completely optional. It's customizable, like I said a billion times. You can also change the color of the text. Now, I'm going to show you one last thing. So I taught you how to make pages out of the arrows. Remember, all the images are going to be in image res. So let's do some quick file directory name thingies. So this is going to be your main one. Now, I may have made it stupider than it needed to be. I did. Okay, hold on. This is why you should keep all your stuff relative. So, hold on. So, I made a goober move, but all the code should be same. I made it autosave each time I type a word. You might not know how to do that. Visual Studio Code. I forgot how I did it. And then Notepad, make sure you press Control S every so often. Whoop. I may have made an oopsie. Oh no. Never mind, I'm good. Where was I? Yes, file directory. So, in your file manager, this is where you're going to upload in the image res all the images, all the files, sprites, basically. Now, as you can see, pages will go in here, and back and next will also go here. I made a typo. This is supposed to be uppercase, but it doesn't really have to be. You can technically name these files all you want. Just remember when you're linking them, put the name of what you want in there. So this right here in the center area, that's what holds your comic page and your arrows. This is the most vital part of the thing. Modify it to your heart's content, but just remember, this is what your readers are going to be looking at. This will link up to that image. I highly recommend Visual Studio Code because of that ability. Same thing with all of these. Always check your links before publishing it. Now, I've updated it. I've explained a little bit more. I've added a new feature that, well, not really. It's been existing. You guys are able to do this without the need of me. Whatever. But simple talk. If you need more HTML or CSS, YouTube is your best friend. Same thing with a website called Stack Overflow. That and this is going to be your best friend when customizing this to your heart's content. All right, one last thing. I probably said that a lot. You might be noticing, hey, how do I change the color of the links? It's very easy. So you're going to push an A. That stands for which coincidentally has links. You can type in color, and for now we're just going to make it black. And then a semicolon. And it's great, but you don't want that underline. Let's see how to remove underlines. CSS has a lot of style options, but you might not want the text decoration of underline. And I'm trying to check how to remove it. See, Stack Overflow is your best friend. Here we go. Text decoration. This allows you to have more open-ended decorations. I don't like the underlines, but you need some form of indicator that this is a link. So I highly recommend you make a color so that pops out and lets people know, hey, this is a hyperlink, click me. And you may be wondering, I want it to change after you click it or when you hover it. Then you're going to write a double that hover, which means I put too many dots. You only need one, I think. A hover. Color, we're going to make it blue, just for demonstration purposes. So that means when you hover, hold on. I think it does need to. Weird. Well, it's because it's a typo? Maybe. Hold on. This is why you should, I'm telling you, this is more proof of why the internet is your friend when it comes to coding. Let's try that. There is no shame in copy pasting. If it works, it works. If someone invented the wheel, why invent it again? Just remember, don't claim you invented the wheel. Well, it highlights it, but that's not what I want. Which means, there we go. And if you really wanted to, let's add an extra feature. How do I bold the text again? Well, CSS. It's font weight. All right. It's weird. You need to get used to it. I've only had so many classes. So you can write bold, but you can change the weight to a more profound number. It'll pop out a lot more. Or if you really want to get crazy with this, font size larger. So when you hover it, it gets bigger. I like this. They're even bigger. Oh yeah. But yeah, that's great. It indicates that that's a link. The only problem is this links with that. Hey, that actually brings me a really great point. What if you want unique properties for the arrows and the archive? They're both hyperlinks, but you don't want them to have the same properties. Well, this is what the next thing is for divs. These are basically micro folders within your code. So we're going to put one there and another one right there. And we're going to give this a ID property. So this is like a special nickname for this. And we're going to name this Glorbo because I can. And you can change it to something you like more. So, Glorbo and Glorbo hover. Glorbo dot a hold on, unique element in ID. Glorbo dot, hold on. I remember now. You put a double. Never mind. I'll cut this. Wait, no. Class. Right. I remember now. You don't want to put a div. I'm gonna cut that out in editing. You don't want a div. What you want is a class. You want to give these ID hyperlinks a class. And we're going to give them a class, all right? Glorbo. Yeah, Glorbo. Now, the Glorbo class, or a class, is basically a unique ID that will apply to more important stuff. Technically, I should be using an ID. However, I'm not a professional, and I can do what I want. So, after changing the classes, the Glorbo should be updated. So, let's check. No. Well, not in the index. This is our new best friend. So, something seems to be off with our Glorbo. Oh, right. You put a dot with it if it's a class. There we go. So, I should quickly just say stuff. If it's an ID, you're going to put hashtag ID, and then you're going to put brackets, and then you can type in whatever you want. If you're talking about a normal property, you just write that property, and you type whatever you want. When you're using a class, however, you put a period, class name, and then you can also type whatever you want. That's how it works. But remember to end it with a semicolon on each line when it's with CSS. You don't technically have to do it here unless you're using unique style properties. That's the end of the tutorial. If you need to link JavaScript, I'll quickly show you how to do that as well. So, how to link JavaScript. This is a poor tutorial. You guys can do better. But in short terms, if you are going to do something like that, you're going to put that in here. And you're going to put script, CRC, and then you're going to put in JavaScript, index.js. And I think sometimes, depending on the script you find, they might put that. Or if you don't want to make a file and make it unique, I recommend going to the bottom here and writing script, like here in this example, and you'll be able to do the same things, but only functions, which is fine, because as you can see here, you're going to need to do that anyway. You need to link it, and yeah, like I said, pretty bare bones. You guys can modify it to your heart's content. You don't even need to credit me, honestly. It's a fun thing to make stuff. Anyway, I should edit this, shouldn't I? Alright, well, that's it on brief. And yeah, it's not that useful, I know I stuttered. Whatever.